Here we are again. Let me just say a couple of things this morning, and we'll take a couple of questions. As Speaker of the House, it is my responsibility to lead the House of Representatives and to do what is right by the American people, and that's what we did today in two very important votes. The first was a common sense, very reasonable, nonpartisan effort to keep the government open. This is a very short 7-week holdover of government funding. We are going to allow more time for the appropriations process to continue. We have been working very hard here to get appropriations back to some semblance of regular order, and I'm proud of the work that the House has done, having passed 12 separate appropriations bills as the system is supposed to work, 3 off the House floor, 3 off the Senate floor. We voted to go to a conference committee to resolve the differences between those bills and to keep this process going. So the responsible thing to do was to keep the government open to allow a little more time for that to happen. So we put a short-term, very clean CR on the floor today that will allow just that. We did it early enough to allow our Senate colleagues to process this. Unfortunately, we didn't have, I think we only had one Democrat come along with us on that, and that's shameful in my opinion, because we could have turned this into a partisan measure, and we chose not to do that. We're trying to operate in good faith here. Now, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats issued a counteroffer, and the counteroffer is filled with poison pills and partisan demands that will break the system down, and Chuck Schumer knows that. He's trying to force, for example, and everybody at home needs to understand what Chuck Schumer is trying to do, is force $1.4 trillion in additional spending on the American people, a spending hike on a very short-term continuing resolution to keep the government open. He also wants to make sure, he wants to reinstate health care to be provided free by American taxpayers for illegal aliens. We're not going to do that either. He also wants to add $500 million to prop up left-leaning media organizations. We're not doing that either. Chuck Schumer chose to try to make this a partisan exercise, and Hakeem Jeffries as well. And it's wrong to do that. And so if they choose to vote against this clean, completely nonpartisan CR, then they will be choosing to shut the government down, and they will owe the consequences of what happens following that. So I think it's a very shameful turn of events. I hope they do the right thing, and Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate have an opportunity to do that. Everybody in America can see what happens with it. The second vote we took here was also the right thing to do. We passed a resolution to honor the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk, my late friend, the friend of so many in this chamber, and we called out political violence in America. In fact, I want to read with you the final line of this resolution because I think it's something that the American people are eager to hear. It says this, quote, "The House of Representatives calls upon all Americans to reject political violence, recommit to respectful debate, uphold American values, and respect one another as fellow Americans." Sadly, a number of Democrats could not bring themselves to vote for that. We have to let everybody make their own judgments about that. I just think that the resolution and the clean short-term CR were the right things to do today. I think it does right by the American people, right by our system, and I think everybody will recognize that. I'll just say this. The ball is in Chuck Schumer's court. I hope he does the right thing. I hope he does not choose to shut the government down and inflict pain unnecessarily on the American people. I hope that they will vote on this clean short-term CR so that we can continue the work to get our appropriations done. I'll take a couple questions. Yes, sir.
Will you consider meeting with Schumer and Jeffries before October 1st, the shutdown date? And why haven't you done so far?
I'm always open to meeting with anybody to get our work done here, but there wasn't really much to discuss with Chuck Schumer because he decided and announced a while back that he was not going to go along for a clean short-term CR. Now remember, he's always voted on these in the past. He's never had a problem with it ever before, but now suddenly he does, and there's no rational reason for him to do so. So wasn't much for us to discuss. Now I do talk with Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat leader here, routinely, regularly, and he and I have had a lot of discussions about this, and I encouraged him to tell his folks that they should do the right thing so that we can continue in a bipartisan fashion to get the government funded. And they've chosen a different route, and I hope in the Senate they make a better decision. Yes, sir.
In the event of a shutdown, are you open to negotiating with Schumer and Jeffries, or are you just going to wait out to see if they pass?
I mean, if Chuck Schumer's negotiation is that he wants to add $1.4 trillion in new spending, the answer is, heck no, we're not doing that. And we're not going to pay for health care for illegal aliens. That's against the law. We're not doing that. They're not being reasonable at all. A short-term CR is not a partisan exercise. We could have loaded this up with partisan provisions, but we're not doing that because we're governing in a responsible manner. I hope Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate will do the same. So we'll see. Last call.
There was some talk about maybe the House leaving after today until after October 1st, the deadline. Do you plan to bring the House back next week, later, if the Senate doesn't pass this?
We haven't made final decisions on that. There's a lot of discussion about it. The members have a lot of work to do in their districts as well, and so we're always trying to balance those interests, work here and work in the district. We'll figure that out. But I'll just tell you, if Chuck Schumer intends to shut the government down, I don't see an easy route out of that. And there's going to be a lot of pain, and a lot of people will suffer from that unnecessarily. Think of it. We would not be paying our troops at a time of very serious conflict around the globe. And we could go down the laundry list of things that would happen, and I hope they don't do that to the American people. Thank you all so much.